God works in mysterious ways.
Absolutely.
You understand?
It's not for us to understand.
Uh-huh. I'm trying to go to the U.S. and the U.S. comes to me. Coffee? Okay.
Welcome back to the podcast. I started this podcast as a way to help Black men in all aspects of our lives. Studies show on average we lose 2.8 years of our life when we're under heavy stress. And I think we can gain those 2.8 years back if we express ourselves healthily. Stick with me as I interview therapists, doctors, advocates, activists, and friends about how we can be better as Black men and as a Black community. If you're not subscribed to us on YouTube and following us on Instagram and TikTok, you'll definitely want to do that. Without further ado, let's get into the episode.
All right. We're back with another episode. I'm here with my dad. My dad has never been on the podcast before. But my mommy just recently was on the podcast, as you know.
Yes. Yeah,
I think you saw that episode.
I did.
And now it makes sense to have you on the podcast because Father's Day is coming up. There's a lot of different things that are happening. We're doing a webinar. So we normally do webinars on like different like healing things. So like we'll do a webinar on like how to find a Black therapist. That's one of our more popular webinars, but we just did a webinar on like healing mother wounds, and now we're gonna do a webinar on healing father wounds. So part of that like webinar series, we like to do, I like to sit down with the people that are involved. So obviously mother wounds is mommy. Having that conversation with mommy. Father wounds is you. Right. Having that conversation with you. Not necessarily saying that like I have these wounds that I need to heal, but I think it's important to hear from the people that helped to raise me and just kind of the things that they went through, which is where this conversation is coming from.
I see.
So yeah, this is going to be a good conversation.
I hope so. I hope so, man.
It's going to be a good conversation for sure.
Yeah, I hope so.
One of the things that I wanted to talk about and start with is we were recently watching one of my podcast episodes, which is very cringe for me because I just don't like watching my stuff. So I'm working through that. But one of the things that you mentioned was you said sometimes you need to take a break when you're watching my episodes. Can you go deeper into that and like what you were explaining in that moment and like what happens for you sometimes when you're watching my episodes?
Well, it's because number one, my father, I didn't even see my father. Not even to say that I sat on his lap, any picture of me and him, nothing like that. Right? My mother always told me that, she would like to see her grandchildren. Right? That also didn't happen. Right. And you may not know it. I've been looking at some of them, your podcasts, right? And every time I look at it, these things I start playing them back in my head, right? If my father was there now to see his grandchild, or if my mother was around. So it's like that, but at least I'm lucky to see that. Right. But when I see that, sometimes I pinch myself. I say, is this real? This is coffee? So that is like that. Yeah. So it's exactly like
it's
that.
It's a surreal
experience.
Yeah.
Even right now, as we are sitting here now.
Right.
And the camera is on me. I'm shy, Kofi. You can't say I'm not shy. I'm shy. Right? But your mother has done it.
Right. So now you should set the precedent.
I can't hide behind anything. I have to do it, So it's like that.
Yeah, so let's get into it. So you just talked about losing your father at an early age. How was that for you growing up without your dad? Because I can't relate to that, but I know some people on a platform understand that experience all too well. So how was it for you growing up without your dad? How do you feel like that shaped you?
Very, very, it was very difficult for me, right? Because Ghana now, we come from a culture which is collective, right? Family oriented. And there I am now. It wasn't until I was about maybe 4 or 5 years that I knew that my stepfather wasn't my father.
Oh, okay. Right? So you didn't know until you were 5.
I didn't know.
Okay.
Right? Yeah, because certain things that he did, because this is on camera now, there are certain things that I wouldn't like to go in detail, right?
Right.
But there are some things that he did that made me question my mother. Why is it looks as if, there's some kind of preferential treatment here,
Right. Right.
And so I asked my grandmother, who I grew up with.
Right.
My grandmother lived in the village and we were in the city because, of course, like children, after a while, when they grew up, they will migrate to places where it's easy for them to get jobs.
Right.
So my mother now left the village to come to Kumasi, which is the second largest city in Ghana, right? So while in Kumasi now, I'm with my stepfather, who all along I thought was my father, but like I said, certain things happened. So when I questioned, that's when I found out that he wasn't my father.
Right.
And I wish, because sometimes you see fathers playing ball with their children or walking with them and things like that. So it wasn't a very nice experience. But thank God my mother was very, very loving. My mother was all I had. And my grandmother. Yeah.
So so like how did that, because you talked about like being very family oriented. How did that like change your approach to being a father, I guess? Like, because you didn't have you had a stepfather.
Right.
I don't know how close you guys' relationship was, but how did that impact your approach to fatherhood?
My perspective of fatherhood?
Yeah, like how did you not having your dad
affect me?
Yeah.
That one now didn't affect me in any way, shape, or form, I don't think. Because number one, my mother, I think I wasn't even a year when my father died. So someone that you don't know, you don't even have any memory of, right? Number one. And I grew up with my mother, right? She's the one that raised me. And I saw what was going on with she and my stepfather, right? So now I said to myself, she's all that I have, right? When I have children, I will make sure that what my mother was going through, right? I will make sure that my wife gets everything. Okay? So it's my mother is the one I grew up with. Okay? So everything started from there. Okay, everything started from there.
I'm learning now.
But at the end of the day, too, now, know that as a parent, now you're asking me about how that affects me with fatherhood. Children are gift from God. And I'm the earthly parent, and God is the ultimate ruler and the father, right?
Right.
He just passed you on to me. So it's my job, regardless of whether I have a father or not, it cannot affect me. I can't make that affect me. No.
One of the things that you just talked about that I want to expand on, because now I just realized something.
Yeah.
I feel like you're very quick to let go of things and like not necessarily turn the other cheek, but you're very quick to just kind of move on from things when things happen. Do you feel like part of that is because growing up, you saw your mom work so hard? So like in your relationship, in marriage, you're like, I don't want my wife to have to necessarily work that hard, and I want to make sure that she gets what my mom didn't have. Is that why you feel like
Of course, that really informed part of that. Yeah, that was part of that.
Okay.
Big part of that. Yeah. It was a big part of that.
I'm learning. I'm learning because I feel like sometimes things will happen growing up and I'd be upset and then I'm like looking at you, but then you're not like as upset as I am. Or like even things in my relationship will happen and I'm upset, or things just in general in life will happen and I'm upset. And then you're just like quick to just be like, not necessarily invalidate. It's not invalidating what I'm experiencing, but more so like guiding me through my annoyance and my anger. Because I feel like I have more of mommy's like temperament in a sense. I can be like you where you're more mellow, I would say. Mommy's more fiery personality.
Right.
I have that when things bother me. And when things bother me, when I talk about it, I don't necessarily address it in the best way when I'm speaking with people that I'm comfortable with.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes like having your mellow, chill vibe helps because if I don't have that, I can harp on things. I find myself harping on things sometimes, and I don't think that's a good quality to have and to take with me. And so I like that you're able to process things and not necessarily like just disregard them.
Like that.
But yeah, like what were you saying?
And even Kofi, even maybe more so was the fact that my mother, we are talking about, I lost her in 1989. You understand? A little, maybe just a little older than you when I lost her.
Right.
So after that, I said to myself, it can't get any worse than this. My father, the mother that I knew, all along, is gone. It was a big, big blow. Okay? And if she's gone and I could take it, there's nothing. There's nothing on earth that, it doesn't get any, it's not going to get any worse than losing your mother.
Yeah. Okay, who was basically your only parent?
My only parent, basically. Yeah. Yeah. So when I put those things together now, whatever happens to me in life, I look at it as, come on. You can get through this. This just happened today. Tomorrow is another day.
Interesting.
Yeah, tomorrow is going to be another day. Different vibes.
Right. So along those lines, let's talk about that, right? Because I feel like one of the most impactful times of our lives as men, there's a few, but one of them is fatherhood.
Okay.
Right. So what was your first year of fatherhood like for you? Like, do you remember that? What was that like for you? What were you feeling? What were some of the challenges that you dealt with? And then how did you navigate that? I know you said you have a different perspective.
First year of fatherhood, again, like I would say that a child is your seed, right? So I just liken it to like the farmer who is planting. You plant a seed, you gotta water it, you have to nurture it. So that is first year, actually, the mother does a lot. Right? The mother does a lot. Let's say if I were just to bring it to you now, like say you.
Let's talk about me, exactly.
Talking about you.
Okay.
I wasn't in the United States at the time. I was in Tobago.
Right.
So I think I saw you not even a month, maybe about 2 months. At that time, probably you were like about 6 months or so when she brought you to Tobago.
Okay.
And she wanted to bring you as early as possible, but you can't take infants like that. I think they have to be a few months at least before you can travel with them, right?
Right.
Yeah, so it was like that. I mean, I saw you now. She has done a lot of the hard work. I mean, you maybe about 6 months or so.
Okay. That was the first time.
Right. Okay. So I came here. You were born what? 96. When I came here, you were 2 years. So I still had a lot of part to play.
Yeah.
Because when I came now, remember, I'm now starting life in the United States.
Right.
She was already in the system working.
Right.
So I'm now starting. For a lot of things now, it was with me, right? It was like that. So when I came to continue from when you were 2 years old.
I see.
And like I said, children now, all you are doing is that, like, you plant a seed, you have to water it. You have to put soil around it. So it's like you are nurturing the child.
All right, I'm interrupting this podcast episode to let you guys know to leave a review on the podcast. Please, 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 if you are listening to this episode and you're finding value in this episode, you're enjoying the conversation, or you've enjoyed a previous episode or conversation, and it's safe to operate your phone right now, please leave us a review. Your review is a free and easy way to support us, and it helps us reach more people like you. We're on a mission to build a stronger, more connected Black community, starting with Black men. And you can help us on that mission by taking a minute out of your day to leave a review. Your review helps us generate more listeners, which in turn generates more revenue, allowing us to expand the platform even further. So please take a few seconds out of your day. I know you're busy. I understand. I know you're doing a lot, but it will help us greatly if you would just take a few seconds out of your day to leave a review right now. Did you leave a review yet? All right, let's get back to the episode.
Before we continue, because you made a good point, I want people to know how they can get access to the webinar. So first of all, if you're enjoying the conversation, if you've enjoyed anything that we've done on the podcast or the platform, know that Father's Day is coming up. We are having a webinar on Saturday, June 15th and June 22nd at 6 p.m. Eastern on how to heal father wounds. So if that's something that appeals to you, man, woman, right, you can pull up, sign up to the webinar. The link is going to be in the description of this podcast episode. It's also on our website at expressyourselfblackman.com/links. Register, pull up, bring someone that you love, and then let's heal. Let's heal together. So one of the things that you talked about that I think is very important to expand on is the nurturing of a child. But not even necessarily the nurturing, like even before that, you talked about you weren't in the U.S.
At the time. When you were born, right.
Yeah, and that was one of the things that you were mentioning, like we were talking about this before. You were saying how a lot of people don't understand the opportunity they have available to them in the United States and how difficult it is if you were to just sit down with 10 different immigrants and talk about their stories.
Oh, you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that. 10 different immigrants and talk about their stories migrating, immigrating to the United States. So let's talk about your story.
My story?
Yeah, because...
Yeah. It's a long story. I'm gonna try and make it.
No. Take your time. You know, you don't have to rush through it. Let's talk about your story, and then we'll get into the rest of like how you were able to nurture me after the age of 2. So let's talk about your story and your journey from. Let's start from the day from when I was born to how you got into the U.S. because that must have been difficult for you. You have a child.
How I got to the U.S.
Right, because you have a child.
It's a long journey. First of all.
Right. Yeah. Go ahead.
To get there now started at like about 18.
Okay.
Right? In Ghana. Now, when I was in high school, a family member, and I'm not going to say who, at the time he was living in the United States, still is in the United States. He promised that, when I do well in the common entrance exam, which is like the high school exam, he will help me come to the United States. And, everyone wants to come to the United States, even now. Right. So I did what I had to do in school, and I did well. So now the admission process started to go to colleges and universities. Right. But at the time now, this person had promised me, and I trusted him. There was no way I thought that he's gonna renege on the promise. Right. And there are some of my colleagues, my high school mates that I even went with to apply for schools. And I went there, stupid me, I didn't even put in an application because I told them, I'm going to the US. Yeah. I'm going to the US. You're going to school, you're going to college, I'm going to the US. Yeah. I'll have a chance to go to a college when I get to the US, right? That was on my mind. And big lesson is that you have to diversify your portfolio. You can't put your bread in one basket, which is what I did. Right. So anyway, admissions closed. It was right at that time. I think it was about 2 days before admissions closed. General admission in other schools closed because it's the same country. The laws is for everywhere. Yeah. All the regions. Found out, I got a letter from him. It wasn't like now where you get email or something like that. A letter I got from him that there are some things he's doing, and because of that, his priorities have shifted, right? So me coming to the United States wasn't on top. Right. There was an order, and my own now has been, dropped. Yeah, dropped. Jesus Christ, I could have died, COVID. I could have died. What? What am I going to do? Right. Right? So anyway, now I tried to see if I could get some other schools to consider me now. They say I had like about over 2 months to do that. You understand? So there were no schools open for me to get admission. So now my next option was to go to what was called the Institute of Adult Education. They call it Workers' College. So Workers' College, more
like trade school?
People who, it's not trade school, you can continue. But it's not like you are in, you can do the same things that my friends are doing in there.
It's like community college.
It's like community college, if you want to put it that way. Yes, it's like community college. But then it's going to be day school. Okay. I have to travel from home to school. Right? Okay. And Kofi, my mother made 9 children. Right? All of us in one room. At the time when I was in high school, my aunt had an apartment. She had just gotten married and moved into a husband. So now that apartment was there for me, right? But now I'm in I'm going to like college. But it's boarding institution all my life. My school system now was boarding. When I was in high school, it was boarding institution. So the day one now, I struggled to make it work. I couldn't make it work. And another one too was the fact that the same person who couldn't help me, like about 3 weeks after that, he was able to make the papers for one of my cousins to come to the US.
What?
So that really, really messed me up. Okay.
Wow.
And this was all because of in the name of religion. Okay. We didn't belong to the same religion, and it shouldn't be like that. Okay. And I love him. Yeah. I love him. He's my, I love him. His family. Right? So at that time now, my mind wasn't in the right place. Okay. Even if I say that I'm continuing education now, then this man, my cousin is gone, it's weighing on my mind. Remember, at that time I was like about 19. Okay, so I couldn't. And I decided I'm going to travel. Told my mother. My mother told me a whole lot of things, please, reconsider. But then she understood, right? Even though she didn't want me to. She said it was going to be a mistake and all of that. But sometimes, she said, sometimes, it's better to learn from mistakes,
Right.
I hope it works out for you, but if it doesn't, at least you will learn something from it. Little did I know that when I was traveling, I wouldn't get back to see my mother again. So anyway, the first place I went to was Germany when I left Ghana. 19, and it's not like a typical 19-year-old like you saying you are going to Germany.
Right.
And you are going to stay maybe Airbnb or
Airbnb.
some hotel. It wasn't like a holiday, a vacation. It's not like that. It's my life. I'm going there to struggle, basically, the way you look at it, because you just finished high school. What kind of job are you going to get in Germany, in a country with all this, with the language barrier as well?
Right.
So anyway, I did my homework, passed through Poland.
Okay.
Poland is the Eastern Bloc. We found out that it's easier to get a visa to go to the Eastern Bloc countries like Russia, like Poland, like Czechoslovakia. And I chose Poland because I knew that I could get a train from Warsaw to go to Berlin. East Berlin, at the time now, Germany, there was demarcation between the East and West. My ultimate destination was going to be West Germany because the economy there is better than the East. But it's easier to get to the East. So I said, once I get to the East, I can get to the West. Right? So from Ghana, Accra, the capital, Accra.
Yeah.
Accra to Warsaw, which is like about 12, 13 hours. And then from there now, I got a train to East Berlin. And from there, I got the travel pass, which I got from somebody to go to West Germany. And I
How
went
old
there
are you
now.
at this point? You still 19? You're 19?
19, 20.
Okay. Jeez,
So now,
Louise.
So now I'm in Germany, right? I'm there, I'm going to be an illegal immigrant. But for temporarily, I have to at least make sure that I can stay without any problems, right? So I had a 2-year window. I sought political asylum, meaning like you go and tell them that, you have issues with the government, right? It's not illegal. It's in their constitution. So, you go there now. And my case was bolstered by the fact that there had been a military coup in Ghana. The government at the time now, it wasn't as stable as it is now. It was military rule. So you are a student now, we capitalize on it. A lot of people did.
Right.
It's like they're playing the World Cup coming up in the US, coming up soon. People can say, oh, I'm going to watch the game, and then after,
you stay.
You blend in.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like that, so I knew that I could do that. But then once you go and do that now, you have just a 2 years window to be able to regularize your stay there. Either maybe you get married or you go to school, but the school one was a harder path because of the language barrier. So when my 2 years now ended, It was just a matter, I had to leave because if they get you now, you're going back home. They will investigate your story, and after they will find holes in it.
Right.
And you have to go back home. So now, from there, I went to England, from Germany.
How old are you now? Like 21?
Now, 22.
22. Okay, so you stayed in Germany probably like
For
3 years.
The 2 years, by the time, towards the end of the 2 years now, I received a letter that they want me to come and, do some paperwork. But I couldn't trust that because this is the time when you go, you'll be going back to Ghana. They're setting me up.
Right.
They're trying to tell me, oh, there's just a few things you have to come and, dot some T's or cross, dot some I's and cross some T's, but
then all of a sudden
I knew this, that is how it is. So my friends who were there already told me that, listen, no, this is like a setup, right? And so when that time comes now, if you don't do anything about it, it's only a matter of time before they
come
find
get
you. Right.
Yeah.
So
then you went to England because you knew that was about to happen.
About to happen.
Okay, so now you're like, all right, cool, I got to jump ship. So you go to England at 22.
At 22, I went to England. Now you're going to England. Remember, once you start something if you start something on a lie, you are going to build on it.
You have to.
Okay?
Right.
Which is not good, but it's a good experience.
Right.
Right? I'm not going to advise anyone to do what I did. Ideally, you have to go through the proper channels to do things.
Right.
But at the time, this is what, out of frustration, I did what I had to do, and I had to, continue with it.
Yeah.
So I went to England, and someone helped me. I met this, I'm not going to call name, but the person was from Jamaica.
Okay.
Right? I did a test because I saw a job open up, and it was a really, really good job.
Right.
That's only people with green card. If it was the US, I would say permanent resident people or citizens can do that job. But he allowed me to take the test because he said I reminded him of himself when he first got into England. And now he's in a position where he was the recruitment officer.
Right.
He let me take the test. He let me go through the training school, and he said, make sure you either go to school from here on or find someone to marry. England now, going to school would have been easier because I'm working at the time.
Right.
But, Kofi.
Young, what happened?
And my mother died. Yeah. Just when things were beginning to head up. I'm talking like 5 years. It took me like about 2 years to get that job. Right? And about 3 years after that, my mother died. Okay, so this is what happened. Now my mom died. I'm the oldest of her children, 7 boys and 2 girls. I found out it wasn't because my mother wanted to have so many children, but she wanted to have a girl at least, right? But one after the other, 7 boys. The last 2 are girls. You met my sisters. You met both of them, right?
Yeah.
My mother died now. The lawyers told me that because you haven't filed your papers yet here, right? If you go home now, it may become very, very difficult for you to get back. Return to the UK. My sister Obaya that you know of, at the time, she was only about 5 years.
Right.
Her course was maybe 10 or something like that. And to stay, I could have sent money home for them to take care of their funeral and all of that, but it was my mother, mind you, the only one that I knew, right?
Yeah.
I believe you would have probably done the same thing if it was you.
Yeah.
So I said I'll go home nonetheless. And I went home. I couldn't go back to the embassy and tell them that this is my job. I have a job in the UK because then I'm putting somebody's job at risk.
Right.
Somebody, you understand?
Right.
I had that person pass. May he rest in peace. He was a good man. All right? And because of that, now I go home to bury my mother. I can't go back. But I had no regrets whatsoever.
Right.
So everything that I work for, with my Christian belief is that you can lose everything. Let's say you work for it. It took you 20 years to get that. these are material stuff. In a good year, you can get it in one good year. Right? You can lose everything and get it in one good year. Yeah, so it didn't bother me. And so now I'm in Ghana. I tried twice.
How old are you now?
Now I am a little older than you.
Like probably
coming up to almost 30.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Yes, 30s. All right, because gone home, bury her, stay a little bit, make sure that, the family, this one is going to do this one is going to do that, because this just crept up on us.
Right.
Right? One of my brothers was giving problems at home, so every one of them at home was telling me, please, help this one get away from here. Yeah, so he now, he's in Holland right now. Right? So let him go first. So that the rest at home now, will have peace. Yeah, we'll have some peace. My other brother that at the time, he had just started first year in, I'm not going to call any name here, so first year in the university, University of Science and Technology, right? You know him. So at that time now, difficult for me to, I listened to what my mother told me, that, I'm not going to put myself in that position again where you go somewhere without papers. Right. But I found out that Trinidad and Tobago is a Commonwealth country under the Queen. Like how Canada is a Commonwealth country, like that, right? And when to go there now, I don't need a visa to come to Trinidad and Tobago. So that's what I told my aunt. I said, look, I'm going to Trinidad and Tobago. Right? So I went to Trinidad and Tobago. I got there now, and believe you me, I stayed there for 8 years.
8 years?
8 years in Trinidad and Tobago. Okay? 4 years in Trinidad, the bigger island, and 4 in Tobago. And it was while I was in Trinidad that that was how I met your mother. First time I met your mother was that her mother had sent her something to bring to the doctor in whose house I was staying, a Ghanaian doctor.
Right.
She was bringing something to the doctor, and I happened to be there. How do you even interpret? How can you put this in? I don't know.
Right.
God works in mysterious ways.
Absolutely.
You understand?
It's not for us to understand.
I'm trying to go to the U.S. and the U.S. comes to me. Coffee? Okay. It looked like it was like that to me now. That's how I was looking at it. Reason I say that is that it was someone that brought him, right, to me. The person that was driving her around brought her to come and bring the gift, whatever it is, to the doctor. And I happened to be there. So your mom and the guy were talking, and they were going somewhere, I think, to the restaurant. And the guy asked me, I said, no, I'm not going. Your mother, no, come on, you can come. It's okay, let's go. And I went, right? Something told me that this is opportunity knocking at your door. You understand? So that is what happened. That is how I met your mother.
So you met mommy what age? Like 30?
I met her close to 40.
Close to 40?
Yeah, close to 40, because I told you, like about middle 30s.
Middle 30s?
Yeah, middle 30s.
So then y'all have multiple kids. You have me.
Yeah.
How did that, and so now round the story out, how did
when
you
I
end up
met your mother,
US?
it wasn't right away that, we started communicating, right? And then after now, when she found out that I was serious, right? She was the one, mind you, that could travel.
Right.
I was in Tobago, number one.
Right.
So every now and then she would come and on vacation. So 3 times she would come and impregnate me, right? All right, Kofi? That's what happened.
Yeah,
so
I was bugging out.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I have to say that. Okay.
Yeah, we're wilding.
Yeah, so this is what, we are grown-ups.
No.
Yeah, so she came, when she comes to visit, that's what happened.
Okay.
And I think you and Kwame, for instance, now it was around the same time that she was visiting.
Right.
When you look at your date of birth, you and Kwame's date of birth, it was coming around the same time.
Right.
So that's why they are apart.
Yeah.
It was.
So then you have me,
Mm-hmm.
How did you get to the U.S. now?
So now, at the time, she came and then we got married.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but when we met, it took a while before we got married. Got married in 95.
Then you had me 96.
Mm-hmm.
And then that was used as the way to get you from...
So now, because she's married, we are married and she's working here, right? She's a citizen. She has a good job, right? There are a lot of stipulations, but she was okay with all of them. Everything that they wanted from her, she had them. So now, when she started to file out the papers for me now, the problem was even on my side, my end.
Right.
Because there it was, I lived in Germany before, and I lived in England before. I'm Ghanaian citizen, living in Tobago, Trinidad and Tobago. So they wanted police certificate of character from all these 4 countries.
Because
any
you
country
had hopped
that I
around
live
so
more
much,
than
they
6,
want to go and visit and
any
see.
country that I live more than 6 months,
they
wanted
info.
Police certificate of character from. So let's say, for instance, if when I was in Germany for 2 years, if I did something bad,
they want to know.
That could have stopped me from coming to the US.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So then
So I had to send. Remember, I have some German friends. Right.
Yeah.
Some of them, I think I've mentioned a girl to you. She was a good friend of mine.
Yeah.
So when I found out they needed the German police certificate of character, she's the one I turned to. I said, listen, I need the forms. So she got the forms. It's not like now where I could have, been sent through email, print it and do it. No. I'm waiting for so the delay was on my part.
Yeah.
And I sent the same thing to my brother and my friends in England to send me police certificate of character, the application, the form, right? So I feel the German one, I think the German one even came before the one from UK. Yeah, because the girl acted on it very quickly. Yeah, she knew what I was going through.
Right, and she wanted to help.
So she acted on it very quickly.
So you get all those certificates of character.
I get all of those certificates of character. At the time, I was working with the Division of Tourism because I needed that also. If I wasn't, I was working at the Division of Tourism as a tour guide. And I'm just going to say this, even though when I went to Germany, it was like a stupid idea and all of that. In hindsight, when I got to Tobago, that is why I found out that God works in so many different ways. And I could speak the language a little bit. And when I started working with the Division of Tourism, it helped me a lot. I'll go to the airport when I found out that the Lufthansa flight was coming to Tobago. And when they come, speak a little German to them, when the ones I know are Germans. And of course, if you don't speak German and I speak German, who do you think they will go with? It's me. Yes.
Yeah.
So it helped me. Yeah, it helped me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you get all these certificates of character. You send all that information back.
To that one is going to the American Embassy in Trinidad.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you send it to them. They send it. They process it.
So okay, the process is in place. There are about let's say there are about 20 questions they're asking me.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm checking. All that is left is the police certificate of characters.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm waiting. Your mother has done her part.
Right.
To the point even where she said they wanted to know if there was evidence of support. Not just bank account or anything like that, but if I come, is there going to be a job? They want to know if I come in the US, there's a job going to be waiting for me.
Right.
Yeah, because they don't want you to become a burden on the government.
Right. Man.
Right. Your mother was even able to get that. When I come, there's this job waiting for me. Right.
Man.
Okay.
So that whole process took you basically like 3 years.
About that.
From the time you guys got married.
She started on right. And from the time she actually 98. Started on it, about that.
Man.
About that.
Jeez Louise. So you go...
About that. So it wasn't because Kofi, listen, it wasn't because under normal circumstances, you hear your wife has made a child, you have a son. Oh my God. I would have just quickly.
Right.
I wouldn't even wait for you to be born. I would just come.
Right.
To see.
Right.
To witness that, to be in the room.
Right.
But I couldn't.
Right. So you didn't even get to witness the birth.
I couldn't. It was Kwame's own that at the time the papers was done and all of that.
Man. So just to sum this all up, because this is a long story, but I think it's important for people to hear that. You talked, you went from 18, basically, 18, 19. You go from Ghana to Germany. To Ghana to Poland.
Through Poland to
then you go to East Germany to go to West Germany.
To England.
To England.
To Trinidad and to Ghana.
Your mom dying. You go back to Ghana. Then you stay there for a couple of years. You go to Trinidad and Tobago. You meet mommy.
Right.
You go through the whole process of certificates of character. You got to get married, all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
And then finally, almost 20 years later, you end up in the U.S.
So by the time I got here, I'm in my early 40s.
Jeez Louise,
you understand?
Man. And I think it's so important to emphasize that timeline because there's so many people here in the U.S. That just don't understand the amount of difficulty that people go through just to get here. And I used to hear you talk about it all the time, like, oh my God, here this guy goes, talking about it's going so hard and you know, so difficult. But because I never knew the story.
And everyone's story is the same, but there are some of them that, oh man.
Yeah, because I never knew the story, you don't really truly appreciate it. But hearing you speak about how much time it took you, and not even just time, how much bouncing back and forth and all the different obstacles, it really puts things into perspective, man. You know, it really puts things into perspective. I've been here, obviously, 20 plus years of my life. Never had to go through that level of strife to get things done. And for the most part, everything that I need to do, I can go and do. Right? Like I don't have a struggle with that.
And then in all of this, you ask yourself, is it fair that when you have the US passport, you can pretty much go to wherever you want to go.
Right.
You just tell yourself, as long as you have the means to travel, that's it. You go, right?
Right.
But when we want to go to someone's country,
you have to go through all of this.
That is, you have to go through a whole lot of
So let's get back to it, man. So now you get to the U.S. I want to get back into the fatherhood. You're with me now. You're seeing Kwame being born. How is that process for you? Because you've missed 2 years of my life now. So how are you getting integrated with like being a father?
No, I mean, blood is blood. You understand? Yeah, it's blood. You see me. You had seen me before. It didn't take long for you to warm yourself to me because in any case, your mother is the one who was, you know, at the time doing full-time or going back. So you home with me most of the time. Right?
Okay.
Yeah. So you see me more than you see her.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, you see me more than you see her. So even when I started going to school, like when I came here, I started my college in about 41. Right? That's when I started. But at that time now, it was a 4-year program. I did it in 3 years. The undergraduate work, I did it in like 3 years because I didn't have any time to waste.
Right.
Mind you, the same college I didn't go to in Ghana, it was waiting for me. So he who fights and runs away lives to fight another day. You have to.
Right.
You can't get away from it.
Right.
You need education unless you have some God-given talent that is really gonna make it for you. Otherwise, you need it. Yeah, you need it. You need it.
So you get your degree while you're at home in hopes of landing something so that you can be able to help support and sustain the household.
Right.
Man, jeez Louise. Oh my gosh. You've had a life, man. You've had a lot of like, man, I don't know, man. I've gone through some stuff in my life. But I don't know if I could have done all that, man. That's a lot of stuff, man.
So this is why, Kofi, I know mental stuff and all of that is very, very important. You know the time that I really needed it?
When
my mother died.
passed, yeah.
When I hear you talk about Safe Haven, right away I would have just signed up, subscribe. I said, listen, I need all the help I can get.
Yeah.
Because I'm the firstborn. Everybody is waiting for me. All right. In Ghana, the funeral system is very, very elaborate.
Right.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you basically you orchestrate and organize everything.
It's not easy. Yeah.
Yeah. Man. So how have you dealt with that then? Like, or how did you deal with that at that time? Because I can't
you couldn't.
I can't imagine. Even
the
now.
thing about at that time now, since you are the eldest,
yeah.
First of all, you have to be strong for the younger ones.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You have to be stronger. You have to hold it in. Even if you cry, I'll make them see you cry. You see, console them, and then in the closed doors. Yeah. So
do you feel like it would have been a problem for them to see you cry? Do you feel like
no?
I don't necessarily think
it won't be.
It
won't be because even Obaya, for instance, after my mom died, one of my aunties had her. She said, "Let me have her for a little bit, right?" But then we decided, let us all mourn together. Right. Yeah. Let us all do it together. So
I want to ask you about growing up.
Yes.
As a father, or like maturing as a father. What were some of the things that you feel like you learned over time with fatherhood that you may have had a different thought process when we were younger versus like now you being like more mature in in fatherhood? Like, what were some of those things? Do you have anything that you like initially you thought this way about it, but then after a couple of kids and doing things differently, you start seeing like, no. Like, do you have any of those, or do you have any like revelations about fatherhood, or like
revelations?
Yeah.
So I won't say that. Yeah, I won't say revelations, but I mean, I've seen people with their children and all of that, you know, and I said to myself, all I said is that once I get my own children, I will make sure that, the love is spread. Make sure that I like to play a lot.
Yeah, you do.
When I came, you were playing a lot of sometimes soccer when you were of age where you could play soccer. Maybe you don't remember, but we used to go to, is it Pleasant Park? Prospect Park?
Prospect Park. Yeah,
we used to go there a lot to play ball and stuff like that in the parks. And I used to play soccer too.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
I used to play soccer too. I don't know, I could have even been in a team in Germany, but that was a second division team. Play soccer a lot. So when I have boys, I say, oh yeah, but as it turned out, you don't like soccer. Kwame didn't like soccer. And Alex neither, so, but I said, it's all good. Right. Everyone and what they like. Yeah, but you like sports, yeah.
What were some of the things that you tried to instill in us growing up?
Growing up?
Yeah, like what were some of the things that you're like, yo, I know you talk about love, but like, what were some of the values or like principles that you felt like were most important to instill in children? Humanity? Humility. Why humility?
I mean, with that now, you can go everywhere.
And what do you mean by humility?
Once you are humble.
Okay.
Once you are humble, doing what you are doing now, let's say, for instance, what you are doing, right? You've gone very far in a very short space of time, right? If you come across as someone who is very, very pompous or proud or whatever and arrogant, people don't warm themselves up to you. Right. But when they see that you are humble in spirit, a lot of people come to you. A lot of people don't like people who are arrogant. Right. You understand? There are some people who feel that, they have earned the right to be arrogant. But to me, it's not.
You've never earned that right.
No. Yeah, and they say there's a proverb in my thing that says empty barrels is the one that make the most noise.
Explain that.
Empty barrel. Whenever you have something that is empty, like a barrel, like the blue barrel that we have, if there's nothing in it and you roll it, it's going to make a lot of noise. But when it's full and you roll it,
it doesn't sound like anything.
It doesn't, no noise.
So what's the message?
So what that means is that the person who, they don't even have much. The little that they have, they feel they are there, right? Right. But the people, a lot of times, people that you see are really, they don't even show off. Right. You look at them and it's as if they have nothing. The same clothes they wear everywhere. But when it comes down to it, resources, they have it in abundance. So empty barrels make the most noise.
You know, you have a lot of proverbs that you mentioned.
Yeah.
You have a lot of good ones, man. That's a good one. That's the first time I heard you say that one.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask, so how do you instill humility in a child? Because I feel like that's...
No, I mean, it's something that when you have children, right, there are certain things that they will pick from you. I believe there are things that you may pick from me. There are certain things that you pick from your mother.
Absolutely.
Right? So there are things you cannot teach.
So it's an indirect.
Yeah, there are things you cannot teach, but you have to live it.
Model it.
Yeah, you have to live it. You have to show it.
Right.
So you hope that maybe if they think that it is worth, emulating, they would. Right. But it's not something that you can tell them, of course, it's nice to be humble and all of that. But when they see you actually live it, it's easy for them to pick it up. Right. Yeah, it's easy for them to pick it up. You can chastise a child all you want, right? If they don't want to do it, they're not going to do it. Yeah, if they don't want to do it, they're not going to do it.
Did you always have that thought process though?
Oh yes.
Okay.
Because listen, there maybe my mind runs on, let's say, Bible. They say when you spare the rod,
you spoil the child.
You spoil the child, right? But it's not like you are beating the child. It's not like that, right? It reach a point where you don't even have to lift the rod or belt or anything like that,
right?
Because by that age now, let's say in your case, our household, about 12, 13, my thing is that if by that time now they haven't gotten it, that means you have a problem.
Right.
That means we have a problem.
Right.
You understand? This is the time that we can sit and talk things through.
Right.
Remember, the household is one where any one of us can call a meeting.
Right.
Except when you don't want to call a meeting.
Right.
But otherwise, the floor is open for anyone to come call a meeting.
Right.
Yeah. So in terms of actually teaching a child what to do, you can only say it.
Right.
You can only say it.
Right.
And hope that it sticks, or leave it. Right. And hope that they will learn from you. Yeah.
Is there anything, like, when you think about fatherhood that you like think, man, I wish I didn't do that, or I wish I could have did this more? Do you have anything that you're like, these are some things that I wish I could have did? Not necessarily didn't do, but maybe, let's say, you wish you could have did more of.
Help me here.
Help you? What do you mean help you? I can't answer the question. I can't answer the question for you. I don't know. I feel pretty good about even I know mommy will talk about.
You see, listen.
Yeah, go ahead.
The thing about it is that what I wish, but it's wish.
Which
is wishful thinking.
Which is?
All I wish, I wish that at the time, right? But circumstances didn't allow that. Let's say, for instance, your child come to you and they need something. You know that they want something, right? And they come to you. That I wish.
That you were able.
That you came to me right away and you want this and I could give it to you because you deserve it or you earn it. But I cannot. Couldn't. You understand? Because I told you that when I came here, it's like I'm starting all over. You understand? But I met your mother, right? She was holding down the fort at the time. And if I even say that I wish I could do that, then we are only saying it in terms of money. But money is not everything.
Right.
But how I wish that sometimes certain things that maybe it's Christmas time.
Yeah.
Even though I don't like holidays and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because I think it is capitalist system where they used to just milk us, get money from the same people who don't have.
Right.
When it's Christmas, things are very, very, they tell you it's reasonable and all of that. It's not. You understand? This is when we are spending money that we don't have. But at the same time, even though I look at it like that, I know all children, want to have something for Christmas. I wish I could get something nice for my son for Christmas to make you happy, right? Because that's what children do.
Yeah.
And think that Santa brought it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we know.
It's like that, so certain things like that, you wish you could do it for yourself.
Yeah.
Or by yourself.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
Things were done, but
there are certain things that I wish you could just say to yourself, okay, son, let's go here. Right.
Let's go watch a next game.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's go to the park and do this. Mm-hmm. The spirit was willing, but the flesh was weak. So, you understand? So there are, in that respect, there are certain things.
Yeah.
I wish I could. But couldn't.
Monetary.
Yeah, it wasn't because of, so it becomes, if I could borrow what Gregory Isaac was said, is that he's not in a position. This is talking about a woman now, right? I'm not in a position to maintain you the way other people are that you're accustomed to, right? But even though he's a pauper, when it comes to loving, he's all right. So I may be a pauper dad at the time, but when it comes to loving, I could give
all love.
All I could give. That is all I could give.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When we were younger, at least for me, I used to think to myself, man, why is it that I feel like I did everything I'm supposed to do?
Yes.
And I've made my case. Why can't I get the Xbox?
Exactly.
Why can't I get the PS5?
Exactly.
And I didn't know that we were like low income.
That's what it is.
To like middle, like we were like lower middle class to like low income.
We were managing with what we had at the time. You understand, but you will not understand.
Yeah, I didn't understand that as a child. And so I used to sometimes get upset, like, man, I thought I did everything I was supposed to do. And then they told me that if I did this, that I'll be able to get this thing, and then I'm not getting it. And it didn't click in my head, like, maybe you're not getting it, not because they don't want to give it to you, but because they can't. They can't give it to you, right? Yeah, they just can't. And so, like, as now that I've gotten older, obviously being able to see that in hindsight, I'm like, okay, cool. It makes sense. Like, you guys are probably trying to make sure that the bills are paid, the mortgage is paid, all these different kind of things.
At that time now, the things we would do would be the things that were needed, Kofi.
Right.
Yeah, but the ones, those ones, we just brushed them aside. Right. It wasn't because we didn't want to do them.
Right.
We would think about them. Your mother and I, you would think about that and say, you know what, let's do this. But that's all we could do. It's not like we didn't want to do it, but the circumstances dictated which way we turn.
But you know what the beautiful thing about all of that is that now Naima and I, and I'm sure Naima has a similar story. We're gonna be able to be in a position where we're gonna be able to do that for our kids,
for your children,
right? So now, due to the work that you and mommy and her parents have put in, we're in a position now where we've been able to build off of that foundation to set ourselves up so that we're not like struggling when it's time for us to have kids. And I think that's another reason why I'm very intentional about not having kids right now. Like, we have the means.
The means, okay.
And I know I'm responsible enough. I know Naeem is responsible enough. Right. It's nothing to do with that. But I want to make sure, like, without a reason of a doubt, without a reason of a doubt, that we for sure are able to.
You cannot quantify, with, let's say, I want to make $500,000, $1 million before I make a child. That's not how it goes. No.
What do you mean by that?
That's
not where I'm at, though.
No.
Go ahead, yeah.
You saying, you want to be at some place, right? And all this place you are talking about, at the end of the day, is money. At the end of the day, it's whatever it is that you want to do in life before you make a child. Money has a whole lot to do with it. If you are looking at it like that, you want to be able to provide, you want to be able to be a good father, you want to be able to do all of this. Money is also part of it.
Yeah, that's
if you are looking at it like that. But don't wait until that, because you want to be able to spend time with your child also. You want to be able, there are some people, when you see them, you want to know if it's your brother, or is that your sister, or is that your brother? Right? That is nice also. That is really nice to see that it's not like your child, and then by the time you are 50, you have a 4-year-old. By the time you understand, you don't want that. By the time you are 60, you have a 10-year-old. That's not what you want.
That's not where we're going. That's not where we're going.
That's not what you want.
I'm just saying, like, you know, another 3 to 5 years.
Another 3 to 5 years?
Ain't gonna hurt nobody.
Yeah, okay.
What do you think?
All right.
What's your thoughts?
If that's what the two of you want to do, right? If that's what the two of you want to do, okay. But otherwise, you know, sometimes two things happen. Yeah. Man proposes and then, you know, divinity disposes. Yeah, you make propositions.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can plan certain things and it doesn't happen the way you want.
No, absolutely. That happens all the time.
Yeah, sometimes, not every time that, you know, things work out like that. Yeah, so you never know. Accidents happen too.
Hopefully,
in that respect, sometimes accidents happen.
Hopefully, no accidents.
Much as, you know, you try to protect yourself and all of that, sometimes accidents happen. Then what you gonna do? Are you gonna say, oh, it doesn't fall within that timeline, and so we are not gonna keep it? You see, it's not gonna work. I don't think that will work. I don't think it will work like that. If an accident happens, know that it's not an accident. It may be an accident in your sight, but it's not an accident. It's meant to be. If it happens, it happens. You can get help. You understand? If you are thinking about maybe because of career-wise and all of that, you want your platform to reach a certain before you start children, you have help. Your mother and I are retired right now. If you were to make children, right? We are there. We can help. You have siblings also. You know, it won't just be you and your.
Yeah, no. I know it's not gonna just be me, Naima, and I.
Unless the timeline that you are, it is something really, really, really that you can't get around. Unless it's something you can't get around. Otherwise, you know, I don't see why. And also, I don't know if you are thinking in terms of because the father, can I talk about
Yeah, go.
Because the father is African?
What?
And maybe you're thinking, oh, they will say, 10 cows or something. No.
They said 12.
No. Listen.
They was it. You know, they was it. They said 12.
Listen. I'm going to say something in the Bible, quote something in the Bible. It applies to everyone. You don't have to be a Christian to. Jesus says something like the Sabbath was made for man, but not man for the Sabbath.
What does that mean?
Right? It's laws we are talking about. At the time now, the Sabbath, people were making it something that you have to really, really abide by and all of that. The time when he went with the disciples and they walked into the cornfields and then he plucked some corns and it was a Sabbath. And then they say, why he's doing something like that?
Right.
And he said, listen, the Sabbath was made for man and not man for the Sabbath. Right? Okay, so now, the same thing. If they were saying 12 cows, why are you going to make that an impediment? Let's say, for instance, I'm not saying you cannot, but there are some families that cannot afford 12 cows. Maybe not even 2, right? But here they are, the children are in love. Are you going to stop that happening because of something they can't afford, but they are in love? No. So that whether it's 12, 20 cows or whatever it is, no. When the time comes, when you guys are ready, we will find ways around it. And the good thing too is that we are all in the United States right now.
Right.
Where are you going to get a cow from? You're going to get a cow and take it where? No.
He's joking, but he's serious at the same time.
It's just a joke. They don't mean it like that.
Nah, you know? I know. I don't take it.
They don't mean it like that. So when you guys are ready, we are ready to throw our support behind you. Whether it is here, whether it is in Ghana, whether it is in Ghanaian, whether it is Tanzania, it's all good. It's all good. And when the children come, they're going to get help from us. They're going to get help from your wife's side also.
Right.
You know, so, you know, unless it's career you are thinking about that, you want to put it in, otherwise.
It's career. It's also just I just don't want to have kids right now.
Some of your friends, maybe they had children maybe when they were 22, 23, 24?
I've had some friends. A woman that I know that has a kid when she was like 22, I think.
And how is she dealing with it?
She's chilling.
It's cool, right?
She's good. Yeah. But I could not imagine having no dang like 5, 6 year old right now. Yeah, nah, I'm good. That's kudos to everybody that's doing that, but listen, not me right now. Right. I'm not saying, again, and children are not the worst thing in the world. It's just that having a child is a lot of responsibility. And I already have a lot of responsibility. So when you're adding a child on top of that, it's like, geez. Not saying I'm never gonna have kids, 'cause I'm definitely gonna have kids. It's just, I feel like I want to get to a point where I have less responsibility, but I'm realizing slowly but surely that there's never gonna be a time where I have less responsibility than I have now, especially as a man. Right. It's only gonna be more and more responsibility that gets added on as I get older.
Right.
So I just have to learn how to manage and deal with the responsibilities that I have right now and stop thinking that I'm going to be able to create some like extra capacity in order for me to bring kids in. Because I think that's what I'm thinking too. Like, you know what? When we get to 31, 32, I'll have more time. And I don't think that's going to happen.
Thinking too hard about it.
You think I'm overthinking kids?
Yeah, overthinking, yeah. When it happens, you find out, look how I'm looking outside. And I'm seeing some parents with their children, and they can probably even younger than you, right? I'm not saying because somebody's thing has to be your own.
No, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I get
when
what you're
the time
saying.
comes,
Yeah, when the time comes.
Yeah, when the time comes, you won't even realize it before you know it's happening.
So what's some advice that you would give me?
In terms
for when it's time, when it's having my first child?
Having your first child and both of you are ready. The way I see you and your girlfriend, both of you come from very loving homes. The support system is going to be there because number one, both your girlfriend and your soon-to-be wife, if I can say soon-to-be wife, right?
You're right.
The parents all come from collective societies, like I mentioned before, where it's all family-oriented. The support is already there. Aunties are there. Uncles are there. Everybody is there. So you won't be in it alone. Even if it is that you are working and you think because of career-wise, maybe there's some conference you don't feel like taking your child or she doesn't feel like, you're going to have help. You are not in it alone. You won't be in it alone. And trust me, maybe you may think you're not ready, but when the time comes, there are some things that, human nature being what it is, it comes as if it is automatic. It's as if you've done it before. Yeah, and then because it's your own blood, trust me, you'll find a way. You find a way to make it work. It's going to happen. You'll be looking at, oh, wow, this is my son. Oh, this is my daughter. It will just happen. The love and caring and all of that, it will come. Yeah, all of that will come. Yep. It's not something that you can't go to learn how to love a child. There's no school that teaches that. How to love your child. No. I don't think. Even if someone writes a book about it, to me, that is nonsense. Somebody is telling me how to love your child. Come on. Come on now. No. It's your child. Unconditional love. You want the best for them. You see? So it comes with the territory. Yeah, nobody will have to tell you what to do. It comes with the territory.
So then let's talk about that, right?
Fine.
Let's talk about that. What were some of the things that you felt like you wanted for us growing up, or versus like how they have materialized now?
How they have okay.
Like,
if I can just use you as an example now, I think. Can I mention schools? The time you were at Edison, right? Right from that time now, in terms of you were talking about, I was the one talking about I felt bad that there are times that I knew that you have earned the right to get something. I wish I could give him this. It wasn't even me saying, I'm going to give you. You are the one who is saying, oh, you wish you could get that. Maybe you are not telling me, but you are talking to Kwame about it. I think this Christmas they're going to do this. Right? And I couldn't. But now, by the time you were at Edison, I don't remember, correct me if I'm wrong, was it Mouse Squad or Geek Squad?
Yeah, they had a thing at Edison called Mouse Squad where I do computer tech stuff. Yeah.
So by the time when you were in school, you started making some money.
Yeah, right? I remember that. Yep.
Yeah. The checks were coming in and we were depositing it for you. So you had, at that time now, you had your own money, starting from 13.
Yeah.
13, 14, right?
Yeah. When I was making money in I was probably like 15.
So this, okay,
15,
like,
16,
right, okay, 15, 16. That was about the time you started Mouse Squad, right?
Yeah.
Because that's when they started paying you.
Yep.
From that time on, it got better and better and better, right? Going right like that. Everyone is not like that. Don't get me wrong. Every child is not like that. Everyone has their own path, right? Same household, same blood and all of that, but everyone, that is not to say one is better than the other. It's not like that, but everyone and how they discover themselves.
Right.
But if I'm using as an example, you just went through from high school and then to college with the 2 scholarships and stuff you were able to do. And now, it's growing. Right. It's growing. Yep.
So that was your hope?
It was my hope that everything that you teach your child, right? Things that experiences that they are gathering along the way of life. Because it's not just your own teachings to the children. There are some things that influence them, right? Peers and stuff like that. You can never say that you know it all. Right? So the experiences and the guidance that you are giving them, and you are hoping that if they follow all of that, they are going to be fine in future. Right. And then it's a dream. Once the dream is realized, that means you got the job done. Dreaming it. And then you can look at somebody and you tell yourself, oh, I wish my child would be doing something like this. Right? But it's only a matter of time. But everyone and their field. With you now, we didn't see computers coming or IT or something like that.
What do you think? What do you think for me?
In the beginning, no, it's not what we thought for you. We didn't see like that. If there was anyone in the team that was really, really into IT stuff, it was Alex. Yeah. It was Alex. But you all know the way when you started the way just like that. You understand? And there was we didn't have to disturb that at all because number one, we saw that you have found your calling and you were good at it. You understand? You found your calling and you were very good at it. Because at the time when I remember, let's say we had a Spectrum, right? TV, Spectrum TV, and problems came and they had to do the remoting in and fixing the problem. You and Alex were doing it already. You understand? You were not home and then you were somewhere and then you tell us, oh, do this, do that, do this, do that. You understand? I said, wait a minute. These kids are helping us to do this, fix something at home, and they are not here. Yeah. You understand? Yeah. So when it's like that now, you are in it. Yeah. You saw that you are going somewhere. Your head was in the right place.
Yeah. I think, I don't know. I think for me, yeah, it's interesting, man. In high school, I just was always thinking about what can I do to set myself up so I don't have to struggle.
Okay.
That was always my thought process. And I thought to myself, computers are not going anywhere. That I know for a fact. So if I get with computers, and I also like computers, if I get to doing something with computers, I'll be good. So that's when I started the computer repair. But then I realized I realized very quickly that computer repair was a dying field because I knew people wouldn't be hiring like repair technicians to come out to their house. And like, that's not really, I knew that wasn't going to be a thing. So then I started thinking, okay, what else can I do to get to a stable income? And that's what I was thinking in high school. So that's why in college, I decided, you know what, I'm going to do computer science, because computer science means software programming. Software is everywhere. Right. Everything runs off of software. You need software. So I know if I do computer science, I will always have a job because software is not going anywhere. But hardware, where I was at initially with computer repair, it's not that it's going anywhere, but it's just that in the field that I was in, computer repair, I knew I didn't want to continue that. Like I would have to do like mechanical engineering. I would have to have transitioned that into mechanical engineering, which I wasn't really thinking of, and that wasn't something that appealed to me. And so computer science was like, all right, cool, I'm gonna do that. And then from there, once I stuck with it, I was like, all right, this is something that I can actually do. And it's not to say that I haven't had my fair share of I was talking to Kwame about this because Kwame going through his own stuff right now, telling him like, yo, everybody's had that moment in their life where they're like worried about where their next dollar is coming from, what's going to happen.
Of course.
Living check to check. For me, that was Massachusetts. People that listen to the podcast, they know I dislike Massachusetts a lot.
Because of all of that.
Because of that, but also because of the environment, but mainly because when I was in Massachusetts, I was living check to check. The weather was terrible. It's always snowing. I'm not seeing the sun. So I'm living check to check. I'm not seeing the sun. I'm only going to work. I'm going to a 9-to-5 dead-end job that I don't really like. I don't like my coworkers. It was a terrible, terrible time for me. But it was one of the times that really helped me to build my character and learn more about myself, because it forced me to say, okay, you did computer science. What are you now going to do with what you've learned to be able to set yourself up so that you're not struggling? Because the whole point of you doing this was so that you don't struggle. So you can't now get out of this thing and now you're struggling a bunch. Right? So it's not to say that I didn't, it's not to say like it was easy for me, because it wasn't easy. I've had struggles throughout the way. And I think that's one of the things I wanted to emphasize. Like, I don't want people to listen to this and say, oh, well, he's had a job since he was 15. He's always been making money and it's just something that comes. No, that's not how it was. No, I know you're not saying that, but I'm just clarifying for people that may listen to this and be like, oh yeah, it's been, nah, bro. Like, even getting into Geek Squad, that was like, at one point in time, that was my biggest hurdle in life. It was like, how do I get into, Mouse Squad? Then how do I get a job at Best Buy to get into Geek Squad, which I did in college. Right. Then now from college, I get that job in Massachusetts. That's a dead end job. I'm barely making enough money to pay for rent and like my groceries and stuff. Now, how do I get out of this to then get my other job? And at each stage, there is a block.
You are saying the job at Massachusetts was a dead end job?
It was a dead end job.
The same one?
Yes. I know you guys didn't see it like that.
Okay.
But I saw it like that. I could have stayed in that job and I would have been okay. Don't get me wrong. Like, it's not, when I say dead end job, for me, my thought process on things is dead end. For most people, a lot of different people, they would be fine with that. But it's a dead end job in the sense that I gained all these skills and I was using none of them. And I'm living check to check. And yes, I'm going to get promoted and eventually it's going to get better. And eventually I get to 6 figures and like I'll be fine and I have good benefits and all that kind of stuff. But to me, it was a dead end job because if I stay here, I lose all the skills I've gained. I can't go anywhere and I'm pigeonholed. I'm stuck in this position. Which is what I didn't want.
But the way I looked at it was like, it wasn't like there was a ceiling.
Yeah.
There was no ceiling.
Technically there was, but go ahead.
Only if you make it like that. Let's say, for instance, the position you were in, first of all, if you don't show them that you can do A, B, C, they're not gonna, if you are content with doing just A, the barest minimum, and they see you are comfortable at that, nothing is going to happen.
Right.
But if you make moves, you do other things, and they know, oh, Kofi is capable of doing this or doing that, as well as you force your way through, it's not going to be a dead end like that. But maybe it wasn't something that you wanted to do.
No, and that's what I mean by dead end. Like,
because
it's not,
it was something at the time too that when you look at it from the other angle,
it looks like
in 20 years' time, if you someone will be thinking along those lines. In 20 years' time now, my benefits are going to be great, right?
Yeah.
But again, we respect that a lot of you, because when you were leaving, remember we said, are you sure? Are you really, really sure? You said, oh, don't worry about it, because I figured it out. I know what it is I want to do. And we had no doubt that, if you say you are leaving something like that, right? If you are leaving something like that, that means you know where you are going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one thing I'm always very big on. I did a solo episode here that is airing before this episode, episode 105, where I talked about planning. And I was telling black men, I said, please plan out your life and just what you want. That has been the most important thing for me in my life, has been planning. It's just planning. Like, okay, I know I'm here right now. I don't necessarily like where I am. How do I get to where I want to be? Where do I actually want to be in the first place? Okay, cool. I know where I want to be. How do I reverse engineer? And because I knew where I wanted to be, that's why I keep calling it a dead-end job, because it wasn't going to get me to where I wanted to be.
To go, of course.
And so for me, that was a dead-end job. So it could be, a dead-end job could be anything. It could be any job. And it could look great on the surface. It could be great for you. It could be great for somebody else. It could be great for me. But if it's not great for the person that wants to get to where they want to be, wherever that is, then that is a dead-end job. And so for me, that's why I was saying, like, yo, this is not going to get me to where I want to be. So I know I need to leave this thing, but how do I leave it? Like, where am I going? And those are the things that I was struggling with. So that's, like, to sum it all up, the point that I was trying to make is, like, at every stage of my life, there's always been something there's always been like a block or something that I'm, like, kind of fixated on that I want to get to. And I think it's important for people to, like, understand that, like, it's not going to be something that just comes so easy. You have a saying that I keep with me. You always tell me nothing worthwhile comes easy.
Yeah, of course.
And if it comes easy, that's probably not worthwhile. Right? Because, and that helps me, because when I'm going through difficult times, I'm like, oh my God, man, this thing is so annoying. This thing is so difficult, man.
So
I always think to myself,
remember all of that.
No, I remember that. Those things I remember. I remember those things, man. I hold on to all of those, like, those things. Another thing that you say that I keep with me all the time is, if you tried your hardest and you failed, then you live with it.
Right.
You don't let that failure bite you.
Right.
Right. Like, you live with the failure because you know you tried your hardest. If you can't try any harder, then what are you?
Right.
It is what it is.
You have to do your best.
Right. And so those are things, those are values or principles that you've instilled in me just by way of just saying it a couple of times and, like, me seeing you, like, actually live it out. There's also another thing. I have a story. I don't know if you remember this.
Okay.
I think I told you this one time before. I don't know. Maybe you don't even remember it. There was a time we were driving down Franny Lou. You were driving. You ran a red light. It was right by the bank.
Right.
You know where I'm going?
Go ahead.
You know? Okay.
Yes.
All right. You ran a red light.
Okay.
There was a car that was going. So, right, like, you run the red light, there's a car that's coming. But we weren't even close to being hit. And I remember, because I'm on the passenger side, the car that's coming, I see them, they're far away.
Right.
They're not that close.
Okay.
Right? You stop at the bank, which is the block down past the red light that you ran. The car that was coming now turns down, and now they're following you.
Oh,
right?
The one by Chase?
By Chase.
Oh,
yes,
okay.
Now you know where I'm going.
Yeah, Francis Lewis.
Yes, you stop the car. The lady's behind you. She gets out her car. She's cursing you out. I'm in the car.
Right.
At this time, I'm terrified. I've never experienced something like this in my life at that point. Right? I'm young. I'm probably like maybe 12, 13. I don't even know how old I am.
Right.
But I'm terrified because I've never experienced something like this before. And I'm with my dad, but this woman seems like a threat. Right?
Okay.
So she's yelling. She literally spits on the car multiple times. Spits on the car multiple times. So upset. How effing dare you run the light, da-da-da, blah, blah. You're trying to calm her down from inside the car. She's not listening. She's like enraged. But you're the way you're responding is making me feel cool because I'm seeing how you're responding. And although this woman is enraged, you're not getting, you, at least from the outside, from what I'm seeing, you don't look like you're even.
I remember even people that were telling the lady, oh my God, come on, calm down.
Right.
You understand? Calm down. Because number one, it wasn't something like we were going to hit the car.
No, we weren't.
I saw that we could make the turn because I'm already almost there.
Yeah.
I said, I'm not going to stand in the middle here. Let me make the turn. But I didn't know that this lady was going to take it the way she took it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So the way you handle that situation is something that I remember. And it's something that I try to keep with me because I'm like, again, it goes back to the point of you being very able to move on quickly from things. And maybe that wasn't your experience, but that's what I took from it. Because I remember after that, she spits on the car. We go to the store. You send me in the store to get water. I get the water. I'm thinking you're going to drink it. And you used it to clean the car off. You drink maybe a little bit. You used it to clean the car off. And then we went about doing whatever else we did.
Yeah.
But just the way you handled that situation, so many other people would have like got out the car, not yelling back and forth with a person. It was physical altercation. They hitting each other, spitting back and forth. You know, it could have been so many different things.
Yeah.
Well, you just chilled out, let her get, her anger out. Right. She gets back in her car. She goes wherever. We go to the store. And I'm telling you, I'm sitting there. I'm terrified.
Sorry.
Nah, you ain't got to say sorry. I'm just saying I was terrified in that moment. But just the way that you responded to that, like, it's something that I always keep with me. And I was mentioning that because I know you think like there's things, or maybe you don't, but I'm just saying it just to say, I know there's things that have happened or things that you say, you may have thoughts about whether or not we keep it with us. We do.
Okay.
We do. I've kept a lot of stuff, and I won't always say it. You know what I'm saying? When it comes up, I'll mention it. But I think it's important because there's a lot of stuff that I've learned from you, both directly and indirectly. And I think I've learned more, especially as I've gotten older, indirectly from you than I have learned directly. And so that brings me into the next thing I want to ask you is, what do you feel like is your role now that I'm old enough? I don't necessarily need you for like financial support and like that kind of thing, like how I needed you as a child. How do you feel like your role has matured down? What do you feel like your role is now?
My role now is like as friends.
As friends, okay.
I'm like a friend to you. You can confide in me. There's something that is bothering you, we can talk it out. You need any advice? So also I'm there, because so this is where we are, right? Right now I'm there to lend, spiritual guidance also, all of that. All of that. Because now you're of age where you know where you are going. Right. And we see, but at the same time, if we see that you are going a certain path, we will tell you, Kofi, listen, you sure you want to do this? Convince us that this path that you are taking is, that is where you want to go. And then we take it from there. But right now, you are like my junior brother. You are my brother, you are my son, you are my friend, and all of that. You understand? When your child does what they have to do, your child at the end of the day. You understand? But there are things we can plan through. There are a lot of things you can come and do in Ghana. I'll sell Ghana. I'm going to sell Ghana to you because if I can use this platform to do that, I'm going to do that right now.
Go ahead.
You understand? Because something bothers me. I think it was about 4 days ago. I was just randomly, skimming through the news and I saw that the price of cocoa, right? Reason I'm saying this is because Ghana is the second largest producer of cocoa in the whole world. Right? Just imagine, I'm just using this as an example, right? The bag of cocoa beans which is like about, let's say, 140 pounds, right? Bag of, this is not 140. This is like about maybe 4. That bag is about the size of the bag that we buying for the bed feed bag, the 40-pound bag. But the size, the weight is 140 pounds of cocoa beans. They sell it for like a little under $150 US.
Okay.
Right? So now you tell me if it is fair that these farmers bring their cocoa beans after going through everything that they go through, the weather, having to nurture them and all of that, fertilizers and all kinds of stuff. And when they finish, you paying them $150 for that bag. Yet when I go and buy chocolate this size, it's not $1. The chocolate this size is a lot of money.
Right.
You are paying £1, let's say 1 pound of chocolate, the good ones. And guess what? Which people who are setting the prices?
Right.
Who sets the price? Ideally, let's say your platform, certain things that you need or that is helping your platform grow, you are the one who is setting the price. Let's say Safe Haven.
Right.
You are the one, whether it is, if you want to come on board, maybe a little something just so we can keep it afloat, right?
Right.
The farmers now go with all the elements, they're going through and all the hard work. You are paying them $150 for that whole bag. And the cocoa now, the chocolate is a lot of money. They make a lot of money. And the countries that are importing this cocoa are all European countries, for the most part, the US and all of that. And all I'm saying is that, please, my people, black people have a lot of purchasing power in the United States. If they bring their heads together, if they unite, they can come. And there's a market in there.
In Ghana.
In Ghana. The cocoa beans are there, the farmers are there, they need help. Some people, some shit, they are buying it and they are setting the price. The farmers are not the ones who get to set the price. So come home and help us out.
You heard him.
Yeah, come and help us out. You want to come and set up business in Ghana. The economic climate is good. The political climate is good. Democracy has been running in Ghana for a long time now. You understand? And as far as getting property is easy. If the government is working with foreign governments who are not black people, you know for a fact that you are welcome.
Right.
Yeah, you can come home and do something, not just cocoa.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm going to get a little something in Ghana. I got to figure out what I want to do.
Not just cocoa. Gold is there too.
Yeah. I'm going to get something in Ghana. You don't even got to sell me on that. You already did that when we went. So you don't even got to worry about that. There's going to be something that happens in Ghana for sure.
Okay.
I have plans to figure stuff out in Ghana for sure. So you don't even have to worry about that. That is my word that things will happen in Ghana. I don't know what for sure right now, but I know where this is going and where we're going, it leads to Ghana in some way, shape, or form. So when I figure out all the details and I have it all ironed out, then I'll start acting on it. But yeah, you don't need that. You don't have to sell me.
You were asking me now, what would I do like a father, me and you?
Yeah.
These are some of the things too. Because right now, the whole world, right? People who are ruling all over the world. It's like about from the ages of, say, 45 to 70, except in the United States where you have 2 old presidents. But otherwise, 45 to 70, the whole world over, they are the ones with the connections. And this is my group. So trust me, we have a lot of connections. There are a lot of connections. It's not just money, because contacts is a lot of money.
No, contacts is worth more than money.
It's a lot of money. Networking is a lot of money. I went home, all my friends, people are in very, very good positions. You understand? So now, if you're asking me what it is now that we can do, now is the time to play ball. Okay, now is the
Listen, I like the sound of that.
Now is the time to play ball.
We got to talk through some things.
Set up certain things, and then, we'll open up some things to you, and then you decide what it is you want to do, which way you want to take it.
We definitely got to talk about some things. I know you've been mentioning
which way
this.
You want to take it.
You've been mentioning this before, and I think I'm in a a better position now versus when we first had those conversations. So yeah, we gotta iron out some stuff a little bit more. But it's not anything that I'm against doing at all. One of the things I wanted to ask you is, what's one of your favorite memories that we've shared?
That who shares? You and me?
Yes, you and I have shared. What's one of your favorite memories? It could be from childhood, it could be teenage years, it could be adult years. One of your favorite memories. Maybe actually give me one from childhood. Give me one from childhood and then give me one. I probably know one more recent. But give me the one.
Say it, because I don't want to take yours.
No, I'm not gonna give one. You're the one.
I know I don't want to take yours. One memory, and that one probably is a bad memory, but it turned out to be good, right?
Okay, what's up?
That was remember when you were going to high school?
Okay,
right?
Yeah.
You were going to high school. You done everything. Yeah. First of all, I don't even know how you ended up with, was it George Washington School?
Yeah, George Washington High School.
George Washington High School.
In Harlem.
Right, in Harlem.
Yeah.
And we living in Laurelton.
Yeah.
The commute, right?
It was 2 hours.
The commute.
And some change.
Just one way.
2 hours and some change, understand? One way, yeah.
Just one way to go to school and to come back.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. So one day now, when you came home, Kofi, you were really, really, it's like I could look in your eyes, and it's as if you are telling me, do you really want to do this to me? You are not asking me, or you are not telling me. You didn't have to tell me. Sometimes it's not what you say. The unspoken word is bigger, it's louder than everything. That day when I look at you, so your mother and I said, this is it, that's it. You understand? Because you came, you still have homework to do because you couldn't finish whatever you were doing on the train coming home. You understand? So when you came and you have homework and you are tired, on top of it. And then you were supposed to wake up a little earlier than the rest because you're going farther than them. I remember that when I look at you in your face, the look, you wouldn't remember this.
I don't remember it.
But the way when you look at me now after you came out, and then it's like, I'm dead. I'm dead. I can't do this anymore. I look at that and I said, this situation has to change because that transition was very, very difficult. Yeah. And you prove everybody right because from the time you left there to come to, even though it wasn't, what is it? That school that you went to, what is?
Cambria Heights.
Cambria Heights.
Yeah.
That's nowhere. It wasn't like your first choice school. That was just a stepping stone to.
Right.
Now, how you ended up at Edison.
Right.
You understand? But that day now, that particular day when you came, and that was the last day you went to that school.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that memory really, really stood with me because I knew, like as a father, if you didn't do anything about it, maybe you were near a breaking point. You understand? Something could have happened. Yeah.
Yeah. George Washington High School was an interesting time for me because I commuted 2 hours to that school, and then I would have to get scanned. It wasn't in the greatest area. I didn't really feel like safe there. I didn't have any friends, so I had to make friends. And like I was also low key getting like bullied. Right. Not like bullied, but like just by way of not knowing anybody there, like I'm getting bullied. It was just, it wasn't the greatest time. So I when you said that I was going to be going to Cambria Heights after that, I was like, yeah, man, listen, cool. I don't care. I didn't care where this. I was like, all right.
Anywhere was better for
anywhere
you than there.
To me was better than that because I was like, all right, now my commute is instead of 2 hours, it's 30 minutes.
Oh,
what?
Man. Yeah.
Like 2 buses and I'm right there? Easy. So that was like, I didn't even know we could do that at that time. I didn't even know that was a possibility. So I was so, like, I was surprised. And then from there, like to Edison. But I think all of that I think I needed to go through that level of adversity. Because it helped me to realize, like, even when you go through adversity, you can make it through. You can make it through adversity. You may not necessarily like what's happening, but you can at least endure it until you get to wherever you need to get to.
Right.
So that's what I took out of it. It's like, yo, you actually went to school that was 2 hours away, and you had to do like this crazy commute, and you actually did that. And you didn't stay there, but you actually did that, and you were doing it. In my head, I was like, yo, I can do this.
Yeah.
Even though I know what you saw, but in my head, I was thinking to myself, like, if this is what it is what it is. I can do this. That's where I put myself mentally. And I was trying to make it work because I didn't think there was any other alternative. So like getting to Cambridge Heights, that was really, really helpful for me, man. So, okay. So now you mentioned one in like teenage, like childhood. What's one more recent?
Ghana.
Okay. All right. I knew you were going there.
Of course, Ghana. You know how long I was waiting for us to do that? Yeah. And then it happened. Oh, my God. And every time I go to Ghana, they will be asking me, oh, where is Kwame? Where is Kofi? Where is Michaela? Right?
Yeah.
Oh, they will come. I mean, in the beginning, we were saying that it would be better when you go there at a time when you can remember the things that you see there. But in hindsight, I don't think it was maybe the right thought. Right?
Not necessarily. I don't think it really matters if you remember it. I think it's the fact of being there is the most important thing. You will still
take something with you, regardless you're a child or not.
For sure. Because even when we went to Trinidad when I was younger, went to Trinidad when I was like 13, 14.
Yeah.
I remember a lot of that. Granted, I guess you can say I'm older, so I can remember it more. But I don't think even if I was younger, like it would have impacted me
the way it did now, right?
Yeah. I think I would have remembered, but I think it all, like you always say, God has a way of doing things. I think it happened exactly when it was supposed to happen. Because when I went to Ghana, man.
You saw some things, right?
Not even some things, not even seeing things. I think in Ghana it was more feeling than seeing.
Okay.
I think that was, honestly, that's what I would say for Ghana. Is like, it was more feeling than seeing, because as soon as I touched down, I didn't even talk to anybody. It was really just a different feeling. I felt peace.
Okay.
And it's hard to explain that to someone that's
for
never
me, you
been.
don't have to.
No, I know.
It's someone who hasn't.
I'm trying to explain this to the audience.
Yes.
It's hard to explain this when I talk about Ghana. I know people think like I'm capping and like whatever. I don't care. There was a certain level of peace that I felt. It's like the closest I can describe it to is like when you go through a long day of work. And you finally walk through your home and everything is clean in your house and you don't have to do anything. And you know it's the weekend coming up. That's what it felt like in Ghana all the time.
Wow.
That's what it felt like for me all the time. It's like, yo, I don't have to code switch. I don't have to be different here. I don't have to like worry about what the police is gonna do or if white people are going to be feeling some type of way about me, or I don't have to do any of that.
That's right.
I can just be myself. I can just be myself. I can be Kofi. I don't have to be anything else but Kofi. I'm going to be accepted and embraced for being who I am. And that was affirmed by as soon as we went and talked to the agent. And she knew that it was my first time coming to Ghana. She gave me a hug.
You see that? Yeah.
This is like the TSA in Ghana, basically. You would never in the United States, never in your life is a TSA agent welcoming you home in the US with a hug.
With a hug, yeah.
You'll be lucky if you get a smile. You're lucky if you get a smile. This lady hugged me, whole bear hug. A big woman, like she hugged me and embraced me like a motherly hug.
That's right.
I said, oh yeah, this is lit. This is lit. This is it.
Yeah.
So that's why I tell people, man, all the time, I'm like, yo, I will live in Ghana. People think I'm crazy. Like they're so shocked to hear that. I will live in Ghana. It's not even up for debate. Whether it's like me staying there forever or like having a home where I'm going back and forth, that one or the other is gonna happen. It's without a doubt that's gonna happen because the feeling in itself. That's why I say when you say what I saw is not even what I saw, is what I felt and how I felt. The feeling in itself is one that I cannot get. I cannot emulate no matter how much pillows and cushions and throws and pictures we put up in here. Yeah. As soon as I step outside of this home, I know I have to deal with the United States of America, which treats me differently as a black man than I would be treated in Ghana. Right. And that's just the reality of it. It's just, I know I'm not going to get the same treatment as I get in Ghana. In Ghana, I'm treated like royalty, truly like royalty. Except for when we went to a crowd with that one guy who was like feeling himself in the hotel. The guy. Except for that guy who I wanted to punch. That's the only guy. That's the only person that I've had a negative experience with in Ghana. Outside of that, it's like royalty. Like truly. Right. And I like that experience in itself.
So then the same thing now. It's just like your mother now, right?
What?
This is how your mother is from Trinidad and Tobago. I didn't want to sell her on going to Ghana. You understand? Because it's something that you have to feel it.
Right.
You have to want to do it. I'm not going to tell you because I'm from Ghana, let's go live in Ghana and all of that. But over time now, she herself right now, the way she loves Ghana, it's as if she loves it more than me now. Right now. You understand? That's a testament to things that she sees there and what she experiences and all of that.
Right.
Because for you to leave your home, first of all, Trinidad and Tobago, to come and establish yourself in the United States, to want to uproot everything to go to Ghana.
Yeah.
You understand? That is, it's very, very telling.
So one of the things I wanted to also ask you is, obviously, as a father, you've imparted a lot of wisdom on me. I feel like we talked about, right? Like there's a lot of stuff that I've learned indirectly from you. Has there been anything that you've learned from me, whether it be young, now, teenage years, any wisdom or anything, or just that you've learned that you've also taken with you?
From you? I learned a lot. When you say you're going to do something, in the beginning you will say, you sure you want to take on this challenge, right? And then you say, yes, I'm going to do it. And then you do it. I mentioned one like how the job that we thought that this is, a lot of parents, when they hear this is where your son is at and they patting you on the back, and then your son comes to tell you, no, that's not where I want to go. You want to know whether it's the devil that entered into them. You understand? I'm about to say this boy needs deliverance, I have to go take you to church for the pastor to pray for you. In Ghana, pray for you.
Right.
What is wrong with this boy now?
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
But then you convince us. They show me this. This is what I have seen. And based on this, I don't want to go there. That's not where I want to go. And then so I learned that from you. Okay? Because trust me, that was a big decision that could have changed your life. You could have gone
in two directions.
You understand? Two directions, and maybe a direction that probably you'd have said, oh, I wish in hindsight, right? But it didn't turn out like that. You prove us that, you told us.
Yeah.
It may not even be 6 months. You told us that. I don't know if you remember.
What was I saying? Yeah.
When you told us that you were not staying there after you served the time that you have to serve.
Oh, yeah.
Because you had to, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like how in Ghana now, when you get scholarship and you have to do the national service.
Yeah.
That's how we call it in Ghana.
Right. Basically, to explain it for people, I got a scholarship when I was in college. And they paid for 2 years of my college. And so as a part of that scholarship, I had to work for 2 years.
Right.
In Massachusetts. And so I was telling my parents, once the 2 years are over at that job, I'll be moving. And so what you're saying, the 6 months was that I was saying I wouldn't be staying for 6 months past the 2 years.
It was like 3 more months before your 2 years.
Right.
So we visited you. Yeah. And then we are having a conversation, and then you are telling us that you are not going to stay there. So, in my head, I said, this boy needs deliverance. That's what I said. What are you talking about? There we are bragging to people, our son works at so and so and so and so. You understand?
Yeah.
What are you telling us?
Right.
What has gotten to you?
Right.
Yeah. Right? But then you told us, listen, don't worry. I'm working on it. 3 more months before my 2 years is up. It won't even probably be the 3 months. You said, 6 months. You said no. Because there's some things you're working on. And then, we were worried that supposing now you leave it, and then you come out and you find out that you're not whatever you thought you were going to get. Didn't turn out that way now. We were worried. We were worried. But then you said you were going to do it, and don't worry about it. And the same way you said it, something came up, right? I think you got something even before what you are doing now that you even turned down, I think.
There was a few things that were going to potentially happen, but they weren't the right fit.
Right.
And they may have turned me down. And I'm glad it happened that way.
Okay.
Because if it didn't happen that way, I probably would have took it because I was so eager to get out of the position that I was in.
And so that made me realize that, you plan things through. It's not like you just make decisions in a vacuum or anything like that once you say you are going to do that. Because just remember that whenever you come in to me and your mother with something, we are going to ask questions.
Oh, for sure.
It won't just be like, okay, prove to us that this is what you are going to do.
Right.
And that what you say you are going to do is going to work out.
Right.
And then you come there now, it's like you are going before someone to prove yourself or to defend whatever it is you are saying.
Yeah, and I think I've appreciated that about you guys' parenting style. And maybe it doesn't work for everybody, but it's definitely worked for me. And the reason why is because it has forced me from a young age to get comfortable with questions about what I want to do and have answers, and not only answers, a plan for where I want to go. So I can't just say, yo, mommy and daddy, I want this PS5. I have to say, yo, mommy and daddy, I have this and this amount of money saved up. Can you guys bring this and this amount to get the PS5? I'm going to play it during this time. I know you guys are worried about me not being able to do schoolwork and have it. I have to think through everything. I have to think through it.
Yeah.
And some people say, well, that's too much. You're a child. You need to. It taught me how to think through different outcomes. And so when I get older now and I'm thinking through things, I'm like, oh, I've already done this. Because when it comes time for me to do anything in the house, I always have to think through the different outcomes because my parents are going to ask me. And so it got me really good at planning. And that's, again, I told you this, and I said this during the podcast, like, that's been one of the things that's helped me out probably the most in my life is planning.
Right.
Because if I didn't plan things out, I wouldn't be where I am right now.
Right.
And that's one of the things that I've realized that a lot of Black men struggle with. But I got good at planning because you guys forced me to have to answer questions around what I want to do.
And remember when you wanted to buy your first car?
Yes.
And you came to us.
Yes.
And then, you had every right to say that, oh, it's my money and all of that. So why all of this?
Right.
But at the end of the day, even though you could have said you were not going to listen to us, you could have still bought a car.
Right.
But you didn't because we were trying to explain to you that, listen, the money that you're going to buy the car right now is not going to be a car that is in really good condition.
Right.
And trust me, it's going to give you problems, maintenance problems, insurance and all of that. So you say, listen, you may think you are ready now, but if you do it, it's gonna hurt you.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know, maybe you went and you thought about it and you say, you know what?
Yeah, I hated you guys for a little bit.
But it wasn't too long after that you came and say, you know what, I'm ready.
Nah, because this is the thing, right? With the car thing, which is really good. I'm so glad you brought that up because it's a really good story. Everybody struggles with their first car. And that's a thing that you really have to do with the help of parents, right? Or somebody, at least in my opinion, right? And so I'm coming to you guys and I'm like, yo, I'm going to have this and this amount saved up. I want to get this. And I'm looking at cars and I'm seeing my friends probably getting cars around that time. And I really want to get a car. I think Naima also had a car at that time. So it was really pulling at me like, yo, you don't got a car, bro. Your girl got a car. I'm really want to get it because I'm like, yo, also I'm at school. I need to drive back and forth to work and all these different kind of things. Or I want to drive back home. And I just want my level of independence and I didn't have it yet. And I felt like a car was going to get me there. So when I first bring it to you guys, and you guys are telling me all these different things, these holes that I'm not seeing, it's disappointing. Because I'm like, oh my God, man. I thought I had it all figured out. But even that in itself was a lesson because it's teaching me like, yo, sometimes you may think it's the right time, but it's not necessarily the right time. And then it also taught me, yo, if you really want to have things, get things so planned out to the point where people can't say you don't know what you're doing. So what I did from there was now I'm getting a scholarship, I'm getting a stipend from the scholarship, I'm saving up my money. I know how much money I'm having coming in monthly. So now I revisit it with you guys and I have the whole plan figured out. And I'm like, yo, I'm going.
And when you came, well,
you guys are like, all right, cool, we're gonna go.
All we had to do was insurance now. So
right.
we say, all right, that's it.
So for sure, we'll do this.
So we are going to meet you somewhere.
Right.
And straight away, we went to the dealership, right?
Exactly. Right. And so that taught me like sometimes it's more important for you to have the delayed gratification versus the instant gratification. And that's what I was looking for when I first came to you guys was the instant gratification of getting a car. But you guys rerouted it into the delayed.
Yes.
And it helped me to get time to like really actually get to a point where I was financially stable enough to support a car because I've seen so many people that will do the opposite where they just want a car so bad that they go and get the car and now they are literally working to support the car.
There you go.
And they don't have a way to really sustain it. And it becomes a financial burden on them to the point where they're not able to build what they actually need to build so that they can be financially stable and independent. And I'm glad I didn't do that because I think the cars I was looking at were like, they definitely would have been giving me problems. They definitely would have been giving me problems. And so that was like real sound advice. And it's not something that I necessarily wanted to hear in the moment, but I'm glad that I actually listened because it helped me out in the long run. And one of the things too that I want to mention about that is there was something that you guys, this is another thing that you guys said, but you may not think that, I hold on to it, but you guys will talk about certain kids in the house, right? You'll mention there's certain things that have happened and like talk about how, sometimes as children, we think you guys haven't been through things or like, we just don't listen. And we don't understand like you guys have been through things as well and that you guys have wisdom. And that's the reason why you're telling us certain things, even if it may be disappointing for us to hear. And what I heard when you guys would tell me stories like that is like, yo, my parents have my best interests at heart. Even if they're telling me something I don't want to hear, it's probably coming from a good place. And so it's important that even when they tell me things I don't want to hear, that I at least listen and heed their advice. Doesn't mean that I have to I don't have to take it all the time.
Even think about it.
Right. I just need to think. I just need to actually think about it. And so that was what helped me when you guys told me the first time, like, nah, it may not be the right thing. Because I actually was like, you know what? Maybe this is them trying to help out. I don't necessarily think this is coming from a negative place. Maybe this is them trying to help out. And I actually sat and thought about it. And I was like, you know what? It would make more sense for me to save more money right now. I don't want to do this because I want to get a car, but it would make more sense for me to save more money right now so that I could be able to be in a better position to get this thing.
Right.
So I really do, like, there's a lot of things, like, that you guys have said and done that maybe in a moment I'm not saying anything, but it's being downloaded. And when the time is necessary for it to come back up, it comes back up.
Right.
And it plays a big role. It plays a really big role. Okay, so we talked about that. I got two more things I want to ask you. I wanted to ask you about what are some of the things, like when you pass, that you want me to remember? And what are some of the things that you want my children to know? You're going to meet them, of course. You know, God forbid you pass before them. But what are some of the things that you want me to remember when you're gone? And then also that you want my children to know?
And I like to make a lot of jokes.
Yeah, you do.
All right.
You do.
Because that is what helps me through everything. Whatever I go through, whenever I'm having hard times, and I go on my phone, trust me, what I'm looking for is maybe something that Dave Chappelle, some joke or something like that to get over it. You understand? Today may be really a bad day, or you may be looking at it as a bad day. But in life, we go through vicissitudes, right? Ups and downs. One day may be bad, but like I say, trust me, the day will still end. And it'll be tomorrow will be a totally different story. Today, I didn't see this coming like today, right? Yesterday it wasn't like this, right? And today we are doing this. Tomorrow is a totally different day. You wake up tomorrow and before you know it, time and space. And we are in New York, right?
Right.
God willing, or all things being equal.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
So now life is not something that is not that serious.
Right. Right.
In this world, I want you to know and your children to know that it's over 8 billion people population-wise in the world, right? But it's only in your lifetime, a few people will come in your lifetime. There are some of them that are toxic relationships. There are some of them that you learn a lesson from. There are some of them that will open doors for you. Everyone that is coming in your life during your lifetime, in this our earthly pilgrimage, is something that I don't know if it was designed like that but you are living it. People that come in your life, it's something. It's for a reason.
Right.
Maybe you went to Ghana and you met a lady that gave you a hug. Who knows next time you see her, what's going to happen?
Right.
You don't know.
Right.
Right? So people that come into our lives, it's for a reason. Some of them, you meet them and you know, wow. Some of them will kind of disappoint you. You know, trust will be misplaced. Things that you thought or who you thought them to be, that's not who they are. And yet there are other people too, you meet them now and they open doors for you. Right? So it's like that. That is very, very important. So when you meet people, you know, treat them because you never know.
Right.
You never know where you may need them. You never know where you will meet them.
Give me a proverb to end. Give me a proverb that you think will be fitting, or maybe your favorite proverb to end the episode. I know this is a very
episode.
Yeah.
All right. So then I would say little drops of water makes a mighty ocean.
And explain that.
Little drops of water making a mighty ocean is that, let's say, for instance, you are saying to yourself, you need 1 million before you can do something. Let's say, make children. I'm not saying that is
I know.
Right? But now I only have 1,000. And every month you get 1,000, 1,000, 1,000. That is money that you feel is safe for you to put aside. So all of this come together over time to reach the 1 million. So little drops of water makes a mighty ocean. Or we can say that, like Jamaicans will say, one cocoa fill a basket. You understand? You may think at the time what you are doing now, you're trying to get 30. But 30 starts from 1. You understand? So don't try to get to 30 when it's not ready to get there.
One at a time.
Okay, one at a time.
Man.
One at a time.
I'm so glad you said that. First of all, because I think that's exactly how I built this whole platform out. I know people look at it and they're like, we're not over 200,000 people that follow us on IG. And they're like, oh man, this guy has this huge thing. This guy's, so this is amazing. That's not how it started, man. Like it started with just one episode.
I look at that sometimes, yeah.
Right,
I look at it like likes and stuff like that. I look at that sometimes. And I'm saying it. There are times that maybe you look at it, in the beginning probably you feel disappointed after all this hard work that I put in. But trust me, they say Rome was not built in a day. That's another one, but it's the same thing along those lines.
Right. No, you're absolutely right. When I first started, I used to be excited if I got like 10 likes on something. I remember those days vividly. I still have screenshots of when we had 6 followers. You know what I'm saying? So like, that thought process is exactly how we built this. Like I remember vividly what we did when we were trying to get to 1,000, how I felt getting to like 5,000, what led us to getting to 10,000, Naima got me a plaque or like a medal when we got to 20,000. Then towards the end of like that year, we were at like 50 to like 100. You know, and I was thinking to myself, man, if we get to 100, like I was thinking that last year, like if we get to 100 last year, like that would be great. Then we got to 100 and we went like all the way up to like almost like 150, 170. Right? To the point where I was like, oh, I know we're going to get to 200.
Yes.
Now I'm not even worried about how quickly we grow. Right? Like, so like all the things that you just said about like one cocoa, fill the basket, little drops of water make a mighty ocean. Rome wasn't built in a day. That's exactly how this platform started. And I encourage everybody that has any type of aspirations or dreams to just actualize it in the form of small, actionable steps. That's all I did. Small, actionable steps. And it wasn't this overnight success because I started AKB, a Kizzle brand at first, which never went anywhere. But it did go somewhere in the sense that it gave me the knowledge needed to apply to this. And I always tell that story when I can because I don't want people thinking like, yo, you got to have some special characteristic and you got to be super something in order for you to be able to do this. Like I'm the average, I tell people that all the time and I think it's important to say that I'm the average person. Right. I just stick with stuff longer than the average person. So in that sense, I'm not average because I'm not the type of person that if something doesn't go the way I want it to go, I'm just going to drop it quick. I stick with it longer
and make it work.
And I try to find ways in which to make it work, even when it doesn't look like it's working years down the line. And I think that's the biggest thing that I want to give or leave with anybody that's trying to do anything is like, yo, bro, just stick with it.
Right.
Stick with it. It may not materialize right now. It may not materialize when you want it to. But if you just stick with it, it will. It has to because it has nowhere else to go but up if you just stick with it. Right. But the problem is most people, they give up because either it's one of two things. It's either they really didn't want to do it in the first place or they let the noise of everybody else drown out
what could have happened.
What was already inside of them. Yeah. And I've done a good job of trying to get away from both of those things. So I appreciate you saying that. With that being said, I don't have anything else to ask you. I do want to touch on one thing. Before I touch on that, I want everybody to know June 15th, again, June 22nd, 6 p.m. Eastern, we're doing the Father Wounds webinar. Pull up. Bring whoever, share it with whoever. The link is going to be in the description. We're going to be talking about how to heal father wounds, what you need to do, how they materialize, type of fathers that you potentially may have that may lead to father wounds and what you need to do to actually heal. So if you're interested in that, please pull up. We're also, I forgot to mention, going to be connecting people with Black mental health professionals that can help you with father wounds in our platform, Safe Haven, at the end of the webinar. So if that's something that you're interested in, if you're really trying to get over some of the wounds that you've been dealing with, or you know someone trying to get over their own father wounds, the link is going to be in the description of this podcast episode. It's also going to be on our website, expressyourselfblackman.com/links. It's also linked in our bio. So you have it everywhere. So please share it. But one of the things I wanted to mention before we end, I want you to talk about Sankofa Roots.
Sankofa Roots?
Yes, and talk about the work that you're doing and how people can
it's
get
like
involved.
Your mother and I at the twilight of our careers, and we've taken early retirement, and we set up this nonprofit organization called Sankofa Roots Outreach Inc., and it's basically to help people, children, the underprivileged. Can be in the form of like school supplies. If you want to make donation, that is acceptable. But if you have anything, school supplies, that you want us to come and pick up, we can come and pick it up. We have barrels and stuff that we send home to help these children. There are some schools that we are trying to adopt, right? A lot of things are going on in the schools. They need a lot of help. But we can again start from one school. We can start from one school. And the things that we are doing now, over time, we will let you see what it is that we are doing. So any one of you who has help, want to help, please get on board. We can't do it alone. We cannot do it alone. The harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few. So we need help.
So if you have book bags, if you have school supplies. If you have old desk supplies, like
old
chairs,
computers,
old laptops.
It doesn't matter.
Old TVs, whatever the case may be.
It doesn't matter.
Anything, all donations are welcome. You can go to sankofaroots.com/donate if you want to leave a monetary donation, or sankofaroots.com and contact and reach out if you have anything that's larger that needs to be picked up or shipped. And we'll figure out how to get that to the people that need it the most. With that being said, Daddy.
Thank you.
No, thank you for the great episode.
No. Thanks for having me, man.
Of course.
I'm shy, but
Man, you did a great job, man.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate that.
I ain't listening to that. You ain't shy, man. You did a great job. With that being said, y'all, I'll see y'all in the next episode. Y'all have a great day.
All right.
Thank you so much for watching this episode. If you are planning an event or you are part of your organization's Black employee group and you are interested in having dope Black mental health professionals or myself come in and do a speaking engagement or a workshop or a keynote address or a panel, please click the link in our bio on Instagram or TikTok, scroll down and click book us for speaking and brand deals and fill out the form available on our website. Once you fill out the form, one of our team members will get back to you about how we can collaborate and create something dope for your organization. This is an unparalleled opportunity. We are currently the largest Black men's mental health platform, and we have a few slots available for our calendar year, and we would love to partner with you to create something dope for your organization if it makes sense for both parties, right? So go to the link in our bio, scroll down, click book us for speaking and brand deals, and fill out that form. If you're not on Instagram, the link should be linked in our description of this episode. And it is also on our website. If you go to expressyourselfblackman.com/speaking-brand-deals. That's expressyourselfblackman.com/speaking-brand-deals. If you are looking for a therapist, a Black therapist, and you've had a hard time finding one, you've jumped from therapist to therapist, or you just don't know how to find a therapist, we are teaching a free webinar. It's completely free, taking you from not knowing how to find a therapist, not knowing where to search for therapists, struggling with finding good therapists for you, not knowing what to look for in therapists, teaching you all of those different things, and also giving you the opportunity at the end of the webinar to be connected with one of our safe haven healers who are Black mental health professionals so that you do not have to go through the struggles of finding a Black therapist alone anymore, right? So if you're interested in that, you want to get connected with a Black mental health professional at the end of the webinar, or you just want to learn how to find a Black therapist by yourself, you can sign up for the free webinar. It's linked in our bio on Instagram and TikTok. You just click that free webinar link once you click the link in our bio and fill out the form. You can also find it on our website at expressyourselfblackman.com/links and fill out the form there for our next webinar session. If you're not interested in any of that, right, but you know someone that may be interested in it, all we ask is that you please share it. If you want some of the merch that we show on the platform all the time, that we're wearing on the platform all the time, you can shop it at shop.expressyourselfblackman.com. And once again, we just want to say thank you so much for watching this episode. Thank you so much for supporting us. Please, if you are on YouTube, leave a like, subscribe, comment. If you're listening to this on an audio platform, please leave a review. It helps us out greatly. Thank you so much for your support. We're wishing you nothing but the best and sending you and your family and your loved ones love and light. Peace.
Sometimes I know you feel like you ain't got nobody to speak to. A shoulder to lean on somebody you could preach to. No, you need to hear it, my brother, I love you. We got way too much to live for.